Good morning, everyone. Hi, my name is Angel Torres. I'm from the HR development team, and today we'll be having a training for deciphering a DD-214. Thank you all for attending. I know you are all very busy. We are all very busy people. It's good to have you here. All right. So first of all, let's get the points of contact for our HRD team. There we go. Last minute add here because I forgot to edit, but no problem. We got our VISN HR chief is Marcus James, and our team, we have Maida Betworth, who's in the call, Lisette Lima, also here in the call, Valerie McKinney, Samantha Montalvo, myself, Angel Torres Morales, and my friend Luis Torres, who's new in the team. He's not my brother. We're not related, but he's a cool guy. He can be maybe my brother later on. Our contact will, if you need to contact us, is visin8hrd@va.gov. You can send us an email message there, and we will be sure to contact you back if you have any questions about any trainings we have here or this training later on. Okay. So, our learning objectives. Upon completion of this training, participants will be able to first define what a certificate for release of discharge from active duty, also known as DD-214, is important, and describe various sections of the DD-214. So, what is a DD-214? Well, the Department of Defense Form 214, commonly known as the DD-214, is the Certificate of Release of Discharge from Active Duty. This form is issued to military members upon separation from active service. It contains information about the veteran's dates of military service and separation, if it was honorable, general, other honorable, dishonorable, or bad conduct, and the form is made available to members following 90 days or more of active duty. Prior to January 1, 1950, similar forms were used by military services. But after January 1, 1950, the DD-214 was created, so we can have more information when the veteran is discharged. So, why is it important? The report of separation contains information normally needed to verify military service for benefits, retirement, employment, and membership in veteran organizations. Information shown in the report of separation may include the service member's date and place of entry into active duty, home address at time of entry, date and place of release from active duty, home address after separation, last duty assignment and rank, military job specialty, military education, decorations, medals, badges, citations, and campaign awards, total credible service, foreign service credited, and separation information, including the type of separation, the character of the service, the authority and reason for separation, and re-enlistment eligibility codes too. Note all these. Take note that all these items can be used to help determine your eligibility for certain veteran benefits programs, determine your what's wrong with me with that word? Eligibility to join the military. I'm sorry for my for my twisted tongue today. So let's see how does the DD-214 look. This is a copy of the most recent version. This form is from February 2022, and some previous DD-214s may not look exactly like this. But why is that? Well, over the years, the form has been reviewed to be easier to find information pertaining to the veteran's career and include more relevant information for veterans seeking benefits and reemployment. As of now, the most recent version is from February 2022. You will find other versions when veterans bring it to you. It's the February 2022 version is a little more rare because it's given most recently to veterans that have gone to the forces after that date. And it's, they're probably just getting out of the military, so it's more scarce to see this one. But let's see the older version so you have an idea of how it looks. The older versions, for example, here, this one, the first one is from one of the first ones from the 70s and 80s. Then we have the most previous version before the February 22 version, which is from August 2009. I gotta make the screen a little bit bigger here, but yeah, so it's basically the one from 2009. That's the most common one you will see from veterans bringing it to employment or into the VA. So that's the one that you will see the most. If a veteran brings the older version one, it probably doesn't have all the information needed currently. So you should always ask the veteran to bring the most up-to-date version they can have, right? So at a glance, these are the blank DD-214. We're going to look at 15 items that we'll be covering in this training. And these are the ones we're going to check. We're going to go one by one so you can know which ones are the most important things you would be checking on a DD-214. So let's go to the first one. Obviously, the name, the most important thing. The name gives you the full legal name of the veteran. It's important that you check always that the name matches all the documentation you have on from the employee, from the application, the 306, every other documentation you have when you're bringing an employee in, you should have it there. So it should match. If it doesn't match, then you should check with the veteran and see what happened. Sometimes it may be the married name, or legal. They change their name legally. Sometimes that's rare, right? But it can happen. So in those cases, you should check with the person so they can give you evidence of what happened there if the name does not match, right? Number 2 is the armed forces components. This block includes whether the member was active, guard, or reserve, as well as the branch of services that they served in. Could be, Army. One of the examples could be Army RA, for example. It will be listed like this. If they were in the Air Force, Marine Corps, Navy, Coast Guard, or Space Force. Space Force is a new one. I didn't remember we had that, so we got 6 branches now of the military. Number 3, the Social Security number. That's pretty much a given one. I don't have to show you an example for that one, of course. But yeah, you should check the Social Security number, that it matches all from the ones that you have from the documentation. For example, the 306, the application for employment, everything that you have for the employee must match the DD-214. Goes without saying, right? Number 4, we have the grade, rate, or rank. This shows a pay grade at the time of discharge for the employee. An example here, for example, in this case, our veteran was his grade or his rank was SSG. That's what it shows on the example, the DD-214 that I had, right? So I'm not exactly sure what SSG means. I'm sorry, I'm not from the military, but that's an example, so you know what you can see in that part.
That means Staff Sergeant.
Staff Sergeant. Thank you, Mayra. You see, it's good to have friends in your training. Number 5, we got the pay grade. That's the military pay grade, which is equivalent for the rating for the grade when the employee was discharged. For example, yeah, in the pay grade, you can see the example is E06 in this case. Number 6 is the veteran's date of birth. Pretty much a given too. It should match all the documentation you have, especially from the 306, applications, etc., etc. Number 7 is the reserve obligation periods. Most recruits sign up with active and reserve obligation. If the veteran does have it, it'll show here. In this case, for example, the one example that I had, it said 0000, which means the employee did not have a reserve obligation period. So just so you know, it will show the date starting the year, month, and date. Number 8 is the primary specialty. These codes are service specific, and for example, the code that I have here, it says 3, 5, and 30, Citizen Analyst. That was the veteran specialist for this DD-214, and he got 8 years and 3 months. Nothing follows. So the codes identify the career field and the skill level, and it's referred to the MOS of the veteran. Now, number 9, one of the most important parts, is the record of service. It displays the veteran's time served up to the date the DD-214 is issued, contains the dates necessary to calculate military time for service computation date. Example for here, you see here, when this veteran came here, you can see the dates when he entered the active duty period, the separation date for that period, and the total time for that. We'll go one by one now, right? But giving you an example of how you can see it, in the big picture, right? So let's go directly into each one of these so you know what are we talking about. For example, A is the active duty, EAD, for the last period of continuous active duty, current tour or date order into EAD, the enter active duty, right? So an 8 is when the veteran started their deployment, and their active service, sorry. And you will see the date here, year, month, and date. On B, it'll be the separation date for this period. So you'll see the date that they ended their active duty on that part. C is the years, months, and days of service between dates in 9A and 9B, less any time lost. If he lost any time, it'll be counted here for, and it'll show it also in another one of the sections you'll see. But you will see the total of that time there to make it easier for you for the service computation date calculation. Section D will be the total of all active military service before the current period of continuous service. For example, if the veteran had a previous active service before this one that they're getting the DD-214 for, it'll show here. So you can add those up and know how many time in total the veteran has of active service. It's by the way, it's good to know. It's good to ask if the veteran has total prior service from this one, from D, total prior service. It's always a good recommendation to ask the veteran for those previous DD-214s, which they should have it. If they don't, they should ask for it, and they should provide it, just so you know that you are checking the exact dates and all this stuff. But if they cannot provide it, if it's there in the most recent DD-214, you can take it for granted because it's official. So, but it's a good practice to ask for it if it's needed, especially if you're doing a service computation date, right? Let's go to F, the total of all inactive service. If the veteran had any inactive service, it'll be shown here in total. G is for foreign service. This is total foreign service during continuous active military service for the period of time the DD-214 is published. You'll see the total here too. If the veteran had C service, you would see it on column H, which is the time assigned to a ship during current period of continuous active service. Column I is for the initial entry training date. J goes with the effective date of the pay grade. So basically, that's the date the DD-214 is issued for the veteran. So column number 10, it'll be decorations, medals, badges, citations, and campaign ribbons awarded or authorized. You should see here that the decorations, unit awards, badges, and all for all periods of service up to the effective date of the DD-214 will be entered here. This will identify any medals for preference. Medals for preference, you should check the GBPA for any medals that should be awarded certain time frames or benefits, for those ones, right? Here you can see an example that this veteran had the Army Commendation Medal, Army Achievement Medal with a second award, et cetera, et cetera. And you can see that they served in the Iraq Campaign Medal with Campaign Star, et cetera, et cetera. You'll see that most of these things, for example, the 14, the decorations and the uniform service dedication, in the end, if they have more information and it cannot fit the column here, you'll see continuation in block 18, which are in this case, since block 18, I copied the wrong block, right? It should be block 20, which is the remarks. And remarks, we'll get later to that, of course, but you'll see that the continuation of this data will be there just in case, right? Column number 11 is the military education. It's the military professional education and formal in-service training courses such as NCO school, community college of the Air Force, senior non-commissioned officer training, and basic military training, etc. You can see an example here of how it looks from the example that I had from the previous DD-214, of course, this veteran. You can see the different trainings that this veteran had. For example, advanced LDR CRS, commander safety, combat lifesavers, defense utility. So you'll see all the military education for the veteran right here in this column. And then we jump to the one that I was saying, number 20, and the DD-214, but the 12th one we're reviewing, it's the remarks. Remarks. This section contains a variety of information about various aspects of service, including whether danger pay was received, use of the delayed enlistment program, whether the veteran is entitled to certain pay or allowances upon separation, etc. You can see an example of that I had from the DD-214 that I was showing you, from the veteran that I had. For example, from Block 6, the period of delayed entry program. It continues from Block 14, the supervisor. These are the trainings, for example, the service medals here, all of that. If it continues, if it has more information from the blocks that didn't fit, it'll go into the remarks here. All right. 13th item we're checking is type of separation. The type of separation is listed here. It should be discharge, administrative separation, or other types are listed here, right? It's very important that you check this one because this will tell you, for example, honorable discharge, and if it says honorable only, that's good. If you see retired, or if you see dishonorable discharge, then you have to check with the veteran because, for example, if it says retired, maybe the majority of the time he served is not able to use it for the service competition date because he's retired. That'll be double dipping if you give him or her the time if they're already retired. So it shouldn't be valid. Then there are certain medals that they have to send the documentation for their branch so they can send it to the agency so you can check if those medals and campaigns give them some time, right? But if they're retired, they cannot claim it completely, right? And if it's dishonorable discharge, then you have to check too because they should not get all those benefits, the majority of benefits. So they will have to check with their VBA, basically agency, so they can give them a better understanding of what benefits they will be able to have, right? So that's very important. Number 14 is the character of service, the types of military discharge. These are the ones that you can see here. The character of service may be honorable, under honorable conditions. Let me give you an example of honorable, of course. One of them can be under oath other than honorable conditions. That's one that you should check. Bad conduct, you should check it. Dishonorable, you should check it. And uncharacterized, also, you should check it because that's probably a condition that, they won't have the benefits that they will normally claim under honorable or under honorable conditions, right? So very important that you check that. That's one of the most important parts that you should have to check in the DD-214. Number 15 that we're checking, it's the dates of time lost during this period. Any lost time issues are listed here, including any period of being absent without leave. On a note, section 23, if you see here, the 23 to 30, all these sections are only found on long form or on deleted copies of the DD-214. The Service 2 copy and Member 4 copy are the long form copies. In the VA, you should accept both long forms. If, for example, a veteran gives you another version of the form, which is not the Service 2 copy or the Member 4 copy, it'll be incomplete. So you cannot check the type of separation, you cannot check the character of service, etc. So it's very important that you check that you have the right version of the DD-214 that has all the information that you need to check for the benefits and to do a service competition date, right? So very important that you accept only both of those as the long forms. Check they are the ones. If they're incomplete, the veteran has to give you those ones that they're requested, right? So how can you decipher the DD-214 more quickly when determining service dates, qualifying medals, and citations, etc.? So first, let's review the type of separation and character of service to determine if the separation was honorable or under honorable conditions. So you have to check if we have the honorable with discharge and honorable, right? It should be like that. If it doesn't, or it's not, if this information is not on DD-214, it probably is not a version that you should be checking. So that's very important. That's the most important one. First of all, I need to check, right? After that comes the record of service. So you got to review the record of service to review the dates and of total service, and if timeframes meet any veterans preference criteria in the vet guide. Review the date of rank and separation date this period to determine if it's applicable for the time period within those dates. If you see, it's not common, of course, but if you see dates that do not match, that should be a red alert about it. So you should check it and verify that's valid, right? Another thing that we need to check is the record of service. As you can see here. That was the example, right? You should also check the decorations, medals, badges, citations, and campaign ribbon awards authorized to see if applicant received any specific medal. For example, a medal for Desert Storm, Berlin, or Grenada, like here in this example. That gives you an idea that you should check the vet guide because they will have some benefits for those campaigns, right? So it's very important that you check for that. For more information of that, you should check the vet guide, and you will know which campaigns and ribbons and medals, decorations are eligible for any extra time, etc. Right? So, in summary, the DD-214 Certificate of Release or Discharge from Active Duty is an important document that contains information that is important for determining veterans' benefits, programs, and proof of service for veterans' preference. It's important that we as HR specialists and assistants verify the DD-214 thoroughly, since we'll be identifying the veteran status for eligibility for appointment and, of course, veterans preference. Right? For reference, you can click here right now. There's a link for the OPM Vet Guide that I just mentioned. Also, the VA Handbook 5005 Part 1, which is about reviewing veterans preference and all that stuff. You can click on it. You go directly into the handbook. So save both of those links. You can click on them right now on your screen. You should be able to, right? Gonna give you at least some seconds so you can click them if you want them. Thank you for attending this training. If you can, please leave your feedback on our HRD survey. You can click right here on this link here. Click here for the HRD survey. If you have any feedback from our training, from yours truly, and if you have any recommendation for future trainings that we should work on, you can go ahead and add it into our poll. There's also a button here. You can click here for email. If you want to send us an email to visn8hrd@va.gov, you can click right there. And that's it. So thank you all for attending. If you have any other questions, you can write to me on the chat. I'll be a couple of minutes here. And if not, then thank you for being here. Have a great afternoon.